Hey guys, what is up? It is Dalton here, and welcome to Video Game Finds number 70. And this week, we've got a lot of good garage sale stuff, guys, and I mean a lot. And me and my brother Tyler, we hit up this community sale that was in another town, you know, that was maybe 20-30 minutes away from us. So it was really cool that we got the amount of stuff that we did, because it was, you know, a little bit farther away than what we're used to. And it's the first community sale that we had been to this year so far, and it was just so successful, guys. It's incredible. But first, I'll start off with one thing that was not from a garage sale or anything. It was literally just straight out of Walmart because it was brand new, and then we'll get into the garage sale stuff, things like that. So, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing here, this came from Walmart, and it was released on Tuesday, and if you already know what I'm talking about, then you already know what it is. But if not, you'll just see it here in a minute anyway. But this is a really, really good game. Games, I should say. I played them a bunch of times over and over and over again on PS3, and I still continue to do so, and I will continue to do so now on PS4, because they designed a duo copy set of this two-game set that they released, on PS3, and that is the Dead Island Definitive Collection, which has Dead Island 1 and Dead Island Riptide in one combo pack here, which is incredible. This set of games, Dead Island and Riptide, those were great games. I loved them. Even though Riptide was a little broken down, it wasn't, it was more like in a beta stage than anything. But still really fun games. I really enjoyed them. So for seeing something like this to come out as a double pack for the newer generation console, it's really cool. They actually look way better, better physics, better upgrades in, character, what do you call it, like speech and everything. It's really cool. They really upped it a lot, and it's really exciting. So very cool. I'm really happy to get that. It was like 42 something after tax, I think. Me and my brother, we split it right down the middle because we're both gonna, enjoy the game constantly together. So that's really cool. So I'm really glad we got that. We split the price on it together, and he's probably playing it right now, as a matter of fact, as we speak, which is, good, because he's been, he probably put like 25 hours into it already, and we just got it on Tuesday, so that's really cool. So, alright, now we'll get into everything else that was found yesterday, which was on Saturday. And this all came from a community sale. So I'd say we went to about 15 houses, and 5 of them had stuff. So 5 of these houses out of the 15 had games. And one house in particular had a huge lot. And I'll get to that at the end, because that was the one we went to initially for the beginning of the community sale, what led us to it in the first place. But I want to show that at the end because it's more important stuff and it's a bigger lot. So anyways, I'll get going with the smaller stuff, and we'll work our way up to the big lot. So, alright. So this was our second house, I think, that had games. The first house, of course, was the one with the big lot, but we'll get to that at the end. But the second house that we found games at, this was pretty cool. These are all Xbox 360 games, and there is 5 of them. So here we go. First one here is Borderlands. Borderlands 1, of course. Not the second one, unfortunately, but it's still the first one, so that is complete. There's that one. Very cool. Duke Nukem Forever. Also very cool. I think this one had the, I threw it out, but it had the original receipt in there with it, but that one's complete as well. Very nice shape. Then we've got Final Fantasy 13. Yes, I learned my Roman numerals this time. I made sure before I started recording. But it has all 3 discs. It is missing the manual. It doesn't have that flip open, style case. So they're all 3 just stacked in one stack there, but they all 3 are there, so that's cool. There's that one. You got Final Fantasy 13-2, kind of like 10-2 on PS2 and all that, so that's very cool. And that one is complete. That one just did have 1 disc, so that one was a little bit easier to keep track of. And then the last one here, Resident Evil 6. Also very nice shape. And that one is complete with both discs. So very, very nice. That is cool. The guy was originally asking $2 a piece for the games, which, don't get me wrong, was a great deal already. Especially for 360 games, that's just incredible, because they're still kind of relevant, so that's really cool. But I asked him how much would he do if I just bought the 5 that I was holding. He's like, I'll just take $5 for all 5 of them. I was like, okay, that's great. Cut the price in half. I couldn't complain at all about that. So he had a bunch of other games too for 360, but they just weren't as good at titles. I probably got the best ones that he had. A lot of the other ones were probably like, NHL 12 and a couple other ones that weren't really worth a whole lot to you know, have value in them. So, but plus these ones are probably a little bit more playable anyway, so that's why I picked them up. So, very cool. I couldn't complain. All right. Next garage sale. This was a little bit later, probably about a half hour after the Xbox 360 games. We were going around. We had probably gone to like 4 or 5 different houses. Everyone had mentioned that they had games in one way or another. They just didn't have them with them, or their kids moved out and took them with. Either way, it was a bummer because we were always asking about games, stuff like that, and no one actually had any. But this one neighborhood we went to, the last house in this neighborhood section that we were in, we asked this older lady if she had any games. And she's like, as a matter of fact, I do. And I thought this was pretty cool because her son had left it, and she had kept it in this tub in their garage for like the last 10 years at least. And it was really, really dusty, but it's not too bad a shape now. But I'll go ahead and show it. And that is a PlayStation 1. And it's not the very first model because it doesn't have the AVRCA out on the back there, but it's still, you know, the first model, I guess you could say. It's not the mini one, but unfortunately this does not work correctly. It will act like it wants to load a game, but it will not fully do it. I'm not sure what's wrong with it. It makes a really odd clicking sound. It has a really good laser in it. The laser looks great, but I just think it's because it was sitting around so long that it got a lot of dust in it and stuff. It just did not, you know, did not treat it well. So unfortunately the console doesn't work, but there is stuff that came with it that does. So this is where we'll get into that. So the console did come with the RF switch there and a power cord. So there's that. Not bad. Then we also have here 2 official Sony brand controllers. They're the non-analog DualShock ones. These are the first edition PlayStation controllers. Personally, I don't like these as much just because I grew up with PS2 and stuff, and I'm just used to the analog sticks. So these just kind of feel off. I guess you could kind of say they feel a little bit like Super Nintendo, kind of, but they're still just not the same to me as the analog stick ones. So, anyways, there's those, so not bad. And then we just got this, you know, bunch of random cords that were thrown in with it. I mean, we got like a TV connector that was cut off, so I'll probably just toss that out. Don't even know why I'm showing it, but it was with it, so why not? Another, like, older school connector for the TV. It's got the little forks on the end that, you know, you'd screw into like an old wood-style cabinet TV. And then you also got a Panasonic phone charger, I think this is, for a car. I'm not sure what phone that would go to or what it really is for, but that was in there too, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but it was in there, so not bad. Then, what I thought was cool is that this stuff was actually packed away in this. I don't know how the console got so dusty and stuff because it was inside this, but it was still cool. I cleaned this case up and it looks great, and that is a PlayStation Underground official Sony case. You know, the PlayStation Underground, like, magazines and stuff, you get like the bonus demo games and stuff where you have like the demos of different games that were going to come out that, you know, within that next couple of months or whatever. This is a really cool piece. I'd never seen one like this. Very nice leather case. I mean, this is a beautiful case. I thought it was awesome. So the embroidery on the front is beautiful. It's really, really cool design. So that is awesome. I was really happy that that was in there with it. So very, very cool. And then the last piece here, I have one for the N64, but now I can say I have one for PS1, and that is the Mad Catz Turbo Racing analog racing wheel here. It is the PlayStation one, obviously, because it came with the PS1, and it also came with the foot pedals. Of course, you always need these. You can't drive a car without pedals, right? So there's that. So very cool. And also, this was really cool that he still had this, and it's the original manual for it, which is also very cool. These are cool things to find, just, you know, little manuals here and there for different, you know, connections and controllers and other accessories and stuff like that. So that was really cool that that was in there. So very, very cool. Alright, so that ended up costing me $10. I offered the lady $10. She did not have a set price on it at all. I just felt 10 was, you know, a fair enough offer because she, for one, wanted it out of the garage. She did not want to hang on to it anymore. And plus, I didn't know how well it was going to work because I saw it physically. The stuff was covered in dust. I mean, maybe a pound of dust because it was in the garage for who God knows how many years, at least 10 to 12. So I just took a gamble on it. The only thing that didn't work was the PS1, but everything else does work. And so $10, I could not complain. And she did, when I was standing there, she did call up her son, and she asked him if he still had the games for it. Because I was kind of odd. I was like, how do you have a PlayStation but no games or anything? So she called him and asked him if he had any games still. And she thought he had thrown them out, but she called him, and he said that he might still have them somewhere. So she said she was going to look this week. I'm not going to hold my breath on that. I did give her my phone number, but usually those things never really work out. So I'm not going to hold my breath on that at all. But that would be great if she did have like a stack of games or something. And she said she would throw them in for the price that I paid for the PlayStation if she found the games. But I told her if she found games and I met her again, I would pay her money for the games as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but we'll see if there's some games. So that's very cool. And there was also another garage sale that I went to. Same deal. They didn't have any games that I bought from them, but they said they had some in their downstairs basement storage room. And she said that she'd give me a call this week sometime. Again, I'm not holding my breath on that because sometimes those kind of things fall through. But I gave them my number, and you know, you never know. Stuff like that could happen. They could have a huge bucket and they only want like $10 for it, and it could be like, you know, a gold mine. Who knows? So we'll see what happens. So anyway. Next house, this was probably about another 20 minutes later, about another 3 or 4 houses. We were walking around asking people. It was all in the same like neighborhood stretch area. These are older houses, so it's like an older town. So it's, you know, these houses are probably built like in the 60s, 70s, you know, those kind of older houses. So, but it doesn't really matter. It's just the neighborhoods are kind of, you know, differently designed than what you're used to seeing in today's, you know, architecture and structures and stuff. But anyway, it was still easy to get around and maneuver around through the yards and different houses and streets and stuff. And we came across this one house, and we asked this couple if they were, you know, if they had any video game stuff. They looked like they were moving a bunch of stuff, like they had a bunch of like furniture and stuff. So I knew they were probably trying to get rid of stuff cheap. So we asked if they had any video games, and the woman's like, "Oh, all I have over there is a PS2 for $5." And I was like, $5? And you know, in my mind, I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll take a look at it." And it was in a box. And it was actually really exciting. I'll go ahead and show it first. But here is the PS2, guys. It's the fat one. But this thing is beautiful. This thing looks like it was just taken right out of the box. Like you just bought it off the store shelf. And it is a beautiful console, guys. This is such a nice console that I'm going to take this console and switch it out with my Play console that I have hooked up in the game room, just because of how nice the console is. It's beautiful. But it's not just the console that came. I also have a blue PS2 memory card. Very nice. Those are nice to get. We've got a DVD remote. And that reminds me, the console is so nice is because they said they mainly used it as a DVD player. So when you turn this thing on, it does not have the fan kick up, so that means it has hardly ever been used, which is a really good sign. That just tells you how nice and new it is. So that's very cool. But anyways, this DVD remote did not have the sensor for it. But what's funny is when we went to the flea market a couple weeks ago, me and my brother did, we bought a PS1 that had the sensor for this control. And it works out perfectly because this didn't have that, but I just hooked it up and it works. So universal sensors and controllers, they work the same way, and it's awesome that I, you know, pieced the two together like that. It's awesome. So very cool. But we also have now a official black PS2 controller, Sony brand. Very nice conditions. It's got a few scratches and stuff. Not too bad at all. Then we've got, if I can get it out there, both cords got AV and power. That's very nice. So you got the full setup at least right there. Then you've got 2 controller extensions. You know, I had assumed that this was hooked up in their living room or something, because that's usually what these were for. You know, you need a longer reach. So that's those. They work very nicely as well, so that's cool. Very nice condition. Then we've got official analog controller PS1 controller, gray controller. Very nice shape as well. Very, very responsive. Very clean controller. The thumbsticks are hardly used. Like I said, this all is like brand new condition, which is really, really cool. And the last one here I'm not too excited about, but surprisingly it does work, and I am very surprised at that. And that is a Performance brand dual impact colored blue gamepad for PS2. Not a very comfortable controller at all, to be honest with you. I tried playing San Andreas with it for a little bit, and it is not a comfortable controller for me. I don't know if it's just because of the shape of it or what, but